Hello, everyone. I'm here today with Andrew Pollard, President and CEO of Blackrock Silver. We're doing the backstage interview for the Silver Investor Forum. Andrew, thanks for your time today to dig a little deeper on Blackrock Silver.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you, Peter.
Pleasure. Andrew, lots of exciting things happening at Blackrock Silver. Maybe you can start by telling us a little bit about your flagship project, the Tonopah West, being in a large silver district in Nevada, and maybe some of the background on that.
Yeah, well, this is the second largest silver district historically in the silver state of Nevada. So, when people think about Nevada, they think about the large gold endowment, but Nevada is known as the silver state for the reason, and that's because of the Comstock lode, which actually helped fund the Civil War, and Tonopah, which picked up the slack when Comstock sort of petered out in the early 1900s and grew to be one of the most significant precious metals discoveries in Nevada mining history, not only because of the Tonopah silver discovery itself, which they between 1900 and 1930 they produced 174 million ounces of silver and 1.86 million ounces of gold, but because it led to all these other discoveries in the Walker Lane district, which really had a major influence on Nevada in the early 20th century. Goldfields discovery, Bullfrog. Goldfields grew to be the largest city in Nevada at the time, and that was right on the back of the Tonopah silver discovery. So lots going on there. But, in the silver world where, well more than 2/3 of all production comes from Latin America, having high grade, pure play silver and gold district that historically produced at 100-to-1 silver gold ratio is very, very appealing, especially nowadays with all the issues facing many of these countries that the primary silver producers are operating in.
Makes sense. I mean, certainly it's an interesting place to work. I know that Fraser Institute ranks it number one or very highly. Yeah. And so great place to be working. Certainly, I'm sure great for infrastructure, great for access to skilled labor, everything you need.
It's wild. I mean, we're sort of spoiled in terms of this project because, we're about a 3-hour drive from Vegas and a 3-hour drive from Reno. The highway that connects the two goes right across our property, and there's a town right next door. So, oftentimes, people or geologists are happy if they can get cell service, at their project. With this, you can walk to Starbucks and get a coffee. It's that good. So we're certainly spoiled. And as you said, globally, Nevada is ranked the #1 best jurisdiction to be in. Within the gold space, there's lots of, gold companies are dime a dozen and good jurisdictions. You can go anywhere, whether it's Red Lake or the Golden Triangle or Idaho. But when you're looking at, the top silver jurisdictions, Mexico is the #1 silver producer on the planet right now. And on that same list, last year, Fraser Institute rated them number 42. Peru, which they just had a presidential election, and they're the second largest producer of silver. They were ranked number 34, but that's bound to go down now with Castillo taking the presidency and saying he wants to keep 70% of all mining profits in the country. In mining in general, mining's a tough enough business as it is. You don't need jurisdictional challenges to make it even harder. But in the silver space, we're going to have a huge target on our back because, all the other companies making headlines are in the countries that the primary silver producers are trying to get out of, or at least not trying to double down on. So I expect we're going to command one of the biggest takeout premiums in the industry in the very short term, just because we've got a major catalyst we're looking forward to, and what we're drilling right now is almost too good to be true.
Well, speaking of catalysts and what you're drilling, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about, I know that you have an aggressive drill program on Tonopah West for this year. Maybe you can fill us in on some of the detail there.
Yeah, so, it's amazing. This is a historic silver district that, it lost its luster, not because, the miners back in the mid-1900s thought they ran out of ore. It lost its luster because precious metals prices tanked. And what's very unique, Nevada is a great space to be working in regardless, but all of this land that we're working on is actually privately owned. So we're not even dealing with the BLM. We're dealing with private landowners, which means that for the last 90 years, no one has been in and drilling on these properties with the many mines on our property. And this district itself, it produced, it grew to become the second largest silver district in Nevada. We've got half of that. Imagine a company saying they had half of the Golden Triangle or half of Red Lake. We've consolidated multiple former holdings from publicly traded mining companies, brought them all together, and we're the first group to go back in 90 years and drill into them. So this time last year in June, we started drilling. Our very first drill hole, we went into one of the old mines on our property, and we released that at the end of July, which was the single best drill hole in Nevada in all of 2020. We drilled 30 meters of a kilogram per ton. We're only expecting to do a very small maiden round of drilling just to get our bearings. Last year, we only set out to do 7,500 meters with one drill, and then we upsized it to 2. Well, between June and December, we drilled 30,000 meters, and starting off 2021, we didn't stop. We didn't recalibrate at all. We laid out a 40,000 meter program, which is going to lead to a maiden resource estimate that we're planning to deliver by November of this year. So in the span of just over a year, we'll have gone from first drill holes ever on our property to delivering a maiden resource. We're right now, we've got 4 drill rigs going, and we're easily one of the most active junior mining companies in Nevada. But we've got this monster by the tail now. We've hit 10 different veins at this point now, with over 5 kilometers of mineralized strike if you were to lay them end to end. One of our veins on our property, called Merton, is up to 1.5 kilometers in strike now, and we're averaging just under 800 grams per ton silver equivalent. So it's ultra high grade. It's thick. It's about 3 meters in terms of average widths, which, as an underground mine go, that's plenty. And what's even more interesting is that top to bottom, I mean, you've got some of these mineralized chutes going over 400 meters. So imagine 4 football fields of mineralization top to bottom, up to 1.5 kilometers, still open in both directions, and ultra high grades. I mean, this is something that's this is a world-class vein, and we've got 9 others. So we've got our hands full, and our geologists are keeping very busy.
It certainly sounds like exciting times. Are you able to give us some perspective on, you did mention around November for a maiden resource, some idea of potential size of that resource, so what we might be looking at?
Yeah, even just on this Merton vein alone, it's we're probably seeing 3 to 3.5 million tons, and if you average that at say 800 grams silver equivalent, I mean, that could be over 100 million ounces right there. We're trying to incorporate sort of so right now we've drilled out about 5 kilometers of mineralized strike if you're to lay all the veins end to end. We're going to be trying to get 4 of the veins that we've encountered into the resource, and we're going to do about 1 kilometer of each. So it'll be a kilometer by a kilometer. What that'll do is it'll allow us to backstop our valuation, give analysts something to chew on, and say, okay, you're not just a junior explorer anymore. You're an advanced resource company at this page. But there'll be so much upside built in and expectations built in, because we'll have the rest of all of these veins plus 6 others, which we expect these to be rated probably higher than any other ounce in the ground in the business, aside from maybe Silvercrest. So for the project wide, I mean, yeah, we're certainly showing well more than 100 million ounce potential, but even just for that one vein, that's sort of what we're seeing. So we just want to show the market that we can deliver this quickly. We want to use that to backstop our valuation, and then we're kind of thinking that if the resource comes in line with what we're thinking it should be, maybe this time next year we'll be looking to go underground and driving our own decline, which will allow us to really open up the floodgates in terms of drilling. Because right now, all our drilling's going right from surface. So we have to get through a lot of rock to get to that sweet spot. So once we can get underground, things can happen very, very quickly. Increase the number of rigs, really start drilling out all these areas, and then you can start getting into some, we can develop this thing quickly because once again, it's private land. We don't have to go through the same sort of permitting that other companies generally do. So we can start looking at doing bulk samples and metallurgy, and from there it's very, very, very quick. So it's an exciting time for investors. We're going to have nothing but drill results leading up to the resource in November. lots of upside built into whatever we delineate. But just by tabling something like this, people can then be able to extrapolate on, you got this kilometer by kilometer that's drilled out every 50 meters or so. Well, how much more strike do they have? What are the grades you're seeing? And then you can start doing the back of the napkin and all of that. But right now, we're having a lot of fun. And as I said, nothing but drill results and this major catalyst leading up to in the fourth quarter.
Well, it certainly looks like someone's been paying attention. You've gotten the attention and the investment from a larger silver producer, well recognized and respected, First Majestic, who recently bought into Blackrock Silver. Can you maybe give us a little color on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a sign of the times for the industry that First Majestic, who for 19 years their motto was one country, one commodity. They've got 3 different mines in Mexico, but after facing all the issues you have down there, and the government obviously coming back for royalties and tax issues, I think it was a shot across the bow to the industry, because they not only acquired Jarrett Canyon, which is a gold mine in Nevada, but a month after they took an investment in us. I think you're going to see a flight of capital outside of these top jurisdictions in South America, like Peru, Mexico, Argentina, Chile, because you're dealing with the same issues. And there's just so few primary silver projects on the planet outside of those jurisdictions that I think you're going to see a mad dash to gobble up projects and companies like ours in different jurisdictions where you don't have to deal with those same sort of issues. So, look at Fortuna, look at Hochschild, look at, you've got all these companies facing the same issues in Peru and Mexico. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of activity, assuming, silver does what we all think it's going to do.
Well, Andrew, you've certainly given us a lot to chew on, a lot of different perspectives on, what you have, where you're headed with all of this. I'm sure that viewers and listeners, certainly want to pay more attention and look at some of these aspects as we move forward. If there's anything that we maybe haven't touched on that you'd like to leave viewers with, or have we pretty much covered some good ground here?
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of good ground. Right now we're still at that on the fun side of the Lassonde curve, where we keep showing expansion, and we're starting to back it up with hopefully showing some ounces in the ground. But it's a high grade drill driven story, and we're doing no shortage of that right now. So keep us on your radar. Maybe take a position if you want to come along for the ride. But we've got a lot of catalysts lined up, and it looks like silver wants to go a bit higher in the not too distant future. So assuming that happens, I think we're going to get a good premium.
Excellent. Well, on that, I think we can wrap it up. I would like to thank you again for your time to give us an overview and some good perspective on Blackrock Silver, and look forward to doing this again sometime soon with you.
Much appreciated. Thank you all for listening.